The sweetest city in the world, the city of Sugarland, my city, is in the process of electing its next mayor. This afternoon, I had the privilege of sitting down with Naushad Kermally, who is running to be the next mayor of Sugarland. Naushad, excited to have you today.
Thank you. Thank you, Kunal. It's just so excited to be back in this building. I remember doing the groundbreaking here. I remember you and I and your brother-in-law walking through the building when it was under construction. I remember cutting the ribbon here.
Yes.
And I've been to many events that you've hosted here as well.
It has certainly been a journey.
Yes.
And same for you. You had a journey that's incredible.
Yes.
You were born in East Africa.
That's correct.
Then you moved to Europe, went to London.
Correct.
Then moved to US and moved to Houston in 1976.
That's correct.
And Houston Sugarland has been home for you for 40 plus years.
Absolutely.
You also worked in the medical field.
I did.
And then you became a councilman and you served not one, but 3 terms.
Correct.
And now you're running for the mayor.
Yes, I've always had my eye on the prize. When I got elected in June of 2019, I knew that our current mayor was going to be up in 2025 due to term limits. And I always knew I wanted to do this. And so I've kept my head down. I've done what's right for the citizens of the city for the past 6 years. I've made great contacts throughout the local, state, county-wide, national-wide. I've made great contacts, and that's what I love most. I love meeting new people. You and I have met because of this. I would not have known who you or the Seth brothers are because we actually met here and through some friends. And I remember, I think it was some kind of birthday party or something we were at, and you've done a lot of those, and it's just about the people. It's always about the people, making connections, and that's what I love about you guys.
Love it. Yes, you're correct. It was a connection a few years ago. I want you to talk to me about your journey,
Sure.
from East Africa to London to America, and then being in the medical field. Talk about your journey to getting to where you're at today.
Absolutely. I can talk for an hour and a half or 2 hours, but I know we don't have that much time. But yes, I was born in Kampala, Uganda in 1971. In 1971, Idi Amin happened. So they did not want any light-skinned individuals there. And so my family was very well-to-do. We had restaurants and stuff all throughout East Africa. And pretty much, I was a baby. Remember, I was born in 71, and this happened in 71. And we had to leave with just the clothes on our back, nothing. So refugees to London initially. Very, very busy for my parents. Parents were laid-back type individuals, although they had a lot of restaurants and canteens and stuff throughout. But they had a good life in East Africa. They didn't have to work as hard because they had teams of individuals that would do all the work. And so moving to London was very high-paced, and the United States opened up. And when the United States opened up, we went to New York. Well, if London was bad, imagine New York City, of all places. My father worked as a janitor for the school district. My father then would work at a convenience store during the day. So it was just too much for them, and they wanted a slower paced life. And they moved down south to New Orleans. And once again, I'm still a toddler, still a baby, and we were there for a few years. I watched plenty of parades down the streets in New Orleans for Mardi Gras and all that as a young child. But there was a community here in the Houston area that we found out about, Ismaili Muslim. That's the community I belonged to. There was a few families here, 5 or 6 only at the time. Many of them were students, and we decided to move here. And so
that was 76.
That was 76 in the Houston area. And so still, once again, only young kid. But we grew up here in the northwest part of town. 43rd and 34th was where we lived. And then we moved towards Alief. And at the end of the day, I did my elementary here. I did my middle school, high school here. But, I am a product of food stamps. I am a product of free lunches and free breakfast. I was the baby of the family. My brothers and sisters, my siblings, didn't have the opportunity to get an education. And because they didn't have an opportunity to get an education, my mother basically said, "You will, Beta, get an education." Beta meaning son. And I said, "Sure, I will." Growing up, I broke my ankle a couple of times. And when I broke my ankle a couple of times, Dr. Yamauchi out in the Clear Lake area, one of the best surgeons out there, said, "The next time you break your ankle, I'm going to put a metal rod in your ankle and you're going
Was
to
it
have trouble.
playing around?
Well,
or-
I broke it on a trampoline
Oh, wow.
the first time around, and then I thought I knew how to play football, so I played football in middle school, and I was not very good at all. But I did it because I wanted to learn something different. Well, that didn't work out. But there's a lot of things in life that don't work out. It was just a pastime for me, and I enjoyed football. So I broke my ankle a few times, and then I knew then I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. I'm like, I can do this. I want to be like Dr. Yamauchi, and I want to be like him. And you know what? I had in Alief Elsick High School. So we're in Alief Elsick High School. Alief used to be the Sugarland of the day back then. I had a nurse as a teacher because I always wanted to do health. And I told her I want to be an orthopedic surgeon, and she said, no, you will not. She's an Army nurse. She said, you will not be an orthopedic surgeon. Do you know it takes 16 years to become an orthopedic surgeon? I'm like, oh, I didn't. And you're only going to make $35,000 as an intern after 6 or 8 years of schooling? You're not going to do that. Your family needs your money. Your family needs you. I want you to go become a nurse. And after I graduated high school in 1989 at Alief Elsick, I actually got into the nursing program at Houston Community College. And I got my associate's degree there. And I was able to land a job in the 1990s. Easy to get a nursing job. HIV and AIDS was a big deal back in the day. But I'm a trauma nurse by profession. And so I did Ben Taub Hospital, the best trauma center there is. Even today, it's a level 1 trauma center. If you're shot, you're stabbed, you're in a bad car accident, you want to go to Ben Taub Hospital. You want to get stabilized there and then go to Methodist or St. Luke's or another facility. And I worked the night shift, Kunal.
Wow.
7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And
That's a peak time.
Peak time. Why? Because the bars and all the other stuff closes. That's when crazy things happen. You know, if you're out at 2 in the morning, sometimes it's not a good thing. Obviously, I was working, but at 2 o'clock in the morning when the bars close down, that's when the drunk drivers come through. That's when the bad car accidents happen. That's when people get into disputes and stuff. And so we'd call them GSWs, gunshot wound times 3, coming down the hall. And we would be ready for them, and we would save lives. I did that for 8 years at Ben Taub. It was a lot of fun. Saw a lot of crazy things, saved a lot of lives, but I also saw a lot of death. So, getting that nursing career was important to me. But then it came to a point in my life where, I put a thumb tag on, a toe tag on someone, I'd zip up the bag and I would send them off to the morgue. But there's a grandmother behind that. There's a father behind it, a mother, a sister, a family member, a niece, an aunt. Someone is behind that body that I just shipped off. And I lost value of life because I would just zip up the bag and move on. Couldn't do it anymore. It's trauma nursing is a lot of pressure. And we had a lot of Baylor intern residents come through, but we would lead the entire show. The nurses would lead the show there. And so I moved my profession to Methodist here in Sugarland. And Methodist at the time in 1997-ish was only a 16-bed emergency room. It was a 24-bed inpatient unit and a 24-bed labor and delivery. So if you came in and you needed a little IV hydration or antibiotics and stuff, we would keep you overnight, would move you upstairs to the 3rd floor, beautiful suites and all that, the Methodist way. And we'd move you up there and take care of you. But if you had a bad heart attack, for instance, we'd stabilize you and then would ship you over to Maine Methodist. I did that for a couple of years. And my son was born in 1999, Adam. My oldest son, today he's 26 years old. And I had a good friend, her name is Dr. Asha Virani, and she and I always worked in the Jamaat Khanas together to do cardiovascular screenings and mammograms and pap smears and all these things because people didn't have insurance. So we would help them through the mosque. And as we did that, she and I became close. And she had a baby 1 month before me. So December 18th, Faraz was born. January 18th, Adam was born. And one day, Asha came up to me and she said, Naushad, I really need a girlfriend. I need someone to talk to. I'm having diaper changing problems, breastfeeding issues, this and that. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening in my house too.
Sure.
And so I hooked up my lovely wife, Nermin, with Asha, and we got together with her husband and our babies one evening. And we just started talking. And remember, I've been a nurse now for 10 years.
10 years.
And as we started talking, Fareed, her husband, said, what do you do? I don't know him. I know her, but I don't know him. And so I told him that I'm a nurse and this and that. And later on, the evening went on. We looked at our watches. Oh, my God, it's 11:30 at night, on a weeknight, on a Thursday night. So we really hit it off, the four of us. And the babies were sleeping. And so Fareed mentioned that, hey, I'm going to be opening up this new retail concept of selling cell phones from a mall. 1999
Like
Kunal.
a kiosk? Or?
Kiosk.
Okay.
By the way, I called it a booth because I didn't know what a kiosk was. Remember, I'm a nurse.
Sure, yeah.
You're shot, I know how to help you.
Yeah.
You're in a bad accident, I can help you. I didn't know what business was.
Sure.
I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. But my
What
mother...
was the reason for that? Was that your parents, family, or?
Well, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't have the money to do it, number one. And my mother said, you will get an education, and that's very important. So I listened to Mom, and I'm so glad I did. But opportunities always come to those who wait as well, but you got to seek them out. And it was opportunistic. It was an opportunistic, and I saw something in this that there's no mall kiosk selling in wireless in 1999. Our first mall we opened up was in Baybrook Mall, and we opened up that kiosk, and we paid $1,500 a month for rent.
That's a lot of money back then.
Back then it was, but it was still cheap. Because today the same mall, Baybrook Mall, is charging about $18,000 to $20,000 a month.
They do.
Same type of thing. But wireless was not in the malls. Jewelry was in the malls. Other things, Sunglass Hut was in the malls back then, and they still are around today. But this was an opportunity for me to get into an opportunity that I don't have to put any money into. And all he said was, whatever you made last year in 1998, just show me your W-2 and I'll match it. I'm like, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
Nothing to lose. So I put a lot of sweat equity into it. And we grew that company from one store kiosk in 1999. And I recently retired from that organization in 2023, post-COVID. And we had grown it to 2,000 stores.
Incredible.
2,000.
2,000 in Houston?
No. So no. We don't have that kind of room. Although there are lots of wireless stores today in Houston. So we saw a lot of brand changes. We did GT Wireless, we did Southwestern Bell Wireless, then Houston Cellular, Verizon Wireless, Singular Wireless, and now AT&T.
And all in malls?
No. So we started off in malls.
Okay.
And it became opportunistic for Fareed, and Prime Communications is the name of the company, because there was a company that came in from California. And they saw Texas as a gold mine, and they were signing brick and mortar leases for $7,000 to $12,000 a month. Mind you, we're paying $1,500 to $1,800 a month, and they were paying big dollars. Well, they came here and they failed, and they needed us. GT Wireless needed us to run these stores, and we said, no, we don't want it. Why would we pay $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month when we're fine in these kiosks? They said, okay, whatever your average rent is, no problem. We're going to fix it for you. You pay us $1,500 a month. We need operators. So we grew overnight in our second year from 5 stores, 7 stores to 14 to 18 stores overnight in 2000. And then that was in Dallas. And then Atlanta. Then Miami.
Same brand.
Same brand, AT&T. Well, so back then it was Singular, right? So we've had so many name changes. You know what I'm talking about. And so I've seen a lot of name changes. But before we even had that opportunity, you know, my father-in-law is a very strict guy, and this was his first daughter that got married. I had my first son. I just bought my first house. I have 2 car notes. I have a nice house. I'm living the American dream, living paycheck to paycheck, right? Still living, because I was living a good life. And my father-in-law showed up 6 months into my journey with Prime Communications at Baybrook Mall, and he showed up with a stroller with my son in it, my wife, his wife, and he called me outside. And he said, I need you to make a decision. Is it going to be my daughter and my grandson, his first grandson, his oldest daughter? Or is it going to be this, and you're going to continue working here? I don't want you to work here. I'm like, Diamond, that's his name. Sorry, I see something. He took my wife and son home to his house for the night. She came back the next day. And so when I look back on that story and I realize that that was 6 months into my journey, I just knew something about this guy, Fareed Virani, that he's going to do something big. And I stuck it out. And I am so grateful that I stuck it out for 25 years.
How did you have your father-in-law back off?
He backed off. He didn't really back off initially.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you something else you don't know. And a lot of people haven't heard this. That first December of 1999, I got a $10,000 bonus. And when, paper check, and I showed it to my father-in-law tore it. Said, I don't care about money. I care about my daughter. Fast forward a couple of years, every time we go out for birthday celebrations as a family, as we go out for anniversaries and everything else, I've always paid for every meal in this household. And I always remind him, hey, Diamond, you remember what you did? It's a funny thing now. We look back on it. We grew so rapidly. I did miss my son's first steps. I did miss some T-ball games because I was in LA opening stores, or I was in Nevada, or I was in Montana. I was somewhere. I was always on the road. But it taught me so much about life. And by the way, we were never always successful. We launched Verizon stores in Little Rock, Arkansas, and a few other stores. They failed. Failure is okay. And that's what I bring in. Because if you don't take chances in life, you can't go up in life. And so we failed, and we lost lots of money in that regards. But bottom line is, as we grew an empire of 2,000, I had 8,500 employees at one point reporting into me as the executive vice president of this organization. I had people all over the country working. And it just became, I look back on it, nursing could have never paid me that much. But it's not always the financial gratification. I have made so many leaders in my life. I've seen 17-year-old kids, 18-year-old kids that I've hired in a kiosk. And today, till this date, they're still with the company. They've grown up the ladder, and they have their own 2 kids and 3 kids, and they've gotten married, and they've bought houses. And I've relocated people from Atlanta, from Salt Lake City, and other places. I've relocated them to different parts of the country, and they all become successful. So leadership is very, very important. So, that's the career type setup. I did that for 25 years. And during this journey in 2018, I decided that, you know what? I really want to give back to the city that has been so good to me. And I didn't start in 2018. If you look at my card, I have done a lot of different things for this city. I started doing Sugarland 101. I did the police academy. I did the Fort Bend Chamber leadership program. All of this started in 2011. And people wanted me then to run against the current city council member, and she was doing a good job. So I didn't think it was right for me to do that. I should have ran because I probably could have still beaten her, but yet it just wasn't right. Well, today, everyone runs against incumbents.
Right.
I just didn't feel it was right in 2019 to do it, or 2017 and 2015. I just didn't want to do it. So 2018, December, I decided I'm going to run for city council. Right here, where your office is in District 2. I live right down the street, as you know, in Telfair. Your office building is here in Telfair. And it was one of the toughest things I've done, to run for a position that I didn't know enough about, but yet I had enough knowledge because I've done several classes. I served on the ethics board for the city of Sugar Land. I served on the zoning board of adjustments for the city of Sugar Land. 2013, I served on the parks board for the city of Sugar Land, appointed by the mayor and the city council members. So I've done a lot of that. Now that the current city council member's up, I ran for her seat. It was not fun. It was not easy, but everything in life always works out. I worked my tail off. I was my own campaign manager, along with my wife and my sister and my sister-in-law. We kind of did it together, and the community rallied behind me. And I won the election with the most number of votes, but I didn't get 50%, so I had to go into a runoff. And then I had to do it one more time.
Who was that against?
So David Gornett, who's a good friend of mine now,
Okay.
and was there too. I don't go below people's needs. I stay up here. I've always been that kind of individual, and I'll continue to say that individual. And Nabila Mansour. So I had the most number of votes, Nabila had number 2, and we ran against each other. And I did that successfully. Had, you know, I had more than double of her votes. But I had to work for him. Door knocking, sending out mailers, calling people, texting people. And that was June, I think, 18th of 2019. And it's been the most humbling thing. It's been the most gratifying thing for me. Because I'm one of those people that realize you can make money, but you can't take it with you. But giving back to the community is more important to me. And I go to bed satisfied that someone's electricity went out and I have a contact on my cell phone. I can text someone at CenterPoint Energy and get a truck out there pretty darn quickly. I feel satisfied that I can reach out to state representatives or senators and they'll text me back. Or the county judge or the county commissioner's office. They reach out to me. And it's just been a blessing because I've met people like you. I would not have ran into you had I not been a city council member. I don't think I would have been in your circle. But I've met great individuals like yourself. I've met others. They've become my best friends. Someone you know really well, Apurva Parikh. Didn't know the guy. But today he and I are blood brothers. We've known each other for 6.5 years, but it feels like he's my own brother and his wife, Mona. They become brother sister to me.
They're incredible people.
Yeah.
So that was the first term, and he ran again, won second time and third time. So many years served as a councilman. But I want to go back to when you shared your father-in-law had a perspective
Yes.
of pulling you away because for him, his daughter was a priority.
Yes.
For him, his grandson was a priority. Do you feel it was more about his perspective, or was it the cultural background that we all have in common that triggered that kind of mindset?
It was cultural, 100%. Mind you, he immigrated here to the United States as well. So the first generational mindset,
Yeah.
right? Family, we stay together, we work together, we fail together, we succeed together. And my father-in-law worked at Walmart. He was an assistant store manager at Walmart. No education, but he worked his way up the ranks. But then when he was off, he was off. When I was off, there was no such thing as off in this because it's 7 days a week. Retail is 7 days a
How did
week.
you meet your wife?
We met through Jamaat Khana. Yeah,
place
and
of
one
worship.
of my friends said, "Hey, you should dare this girl to go out with you." And I did. And sure. By the way, Nermin and I don't think you know this. I was in the 9th grade. She was in the 8th grade when we first started dating.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we used to sneak out of the house, to go get
Wow.
Dairy Queen on our first date. First kiss was at Dairy Queen on Boone Road.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then, of course, when you're young, you break up, you do this, you do that. But we've now been married 30 years.
Incredible.
And it's been a blessing. She's my backbone. She's my right hand. She's my left hand. I wouldn't know what to do without her. I really wouldn't.
So that interaction with your father-in-law, when he had certain perspective, but you stood your ground.
Yes.
You stood behind what you had believed in,
Right.
quitting your nursing job, being in the business of growing the cell phone business, and you grew that brand
Yes.
nationwide with
Yes.
2,000 plus locations. So your conviction about doing what you believed in, still at the same time you shared your wife
Yes.
came back to your home
Yeah.
the next day. There had to be a balancing game
did.
where you couldn't just give in or cave in to the family pressure, but you had to stay true. How do you think that mindset, that perspective, is being shared with your 3 young kids? Because they must be looking up to you and they must know the story
Yeah.
where daddy stood behind what he believed in. And today he's where he's at today because of
Right.
his conviction and his determination.
Yeah.
How is that reflected on the next generation, Naushad?
So it's amazing. My 3 kids, Adam, Ariana, and Aaron, are just simply amazing. And everyone says that about their parents, and you would, about their kids, and you feel the same. Of course, we all love our kids, but I'm so blessed that these kids are extremely bright. I'm not the brightest book person. I really am not. Right? I made C's and B's, and have I made an F? Sure, I have. Right? Because I was the kind of kid that liked to have a lot of fun. I'm a 53-year-old big kid right now. You tell me let's go to Disney World, I'm going to Disney World. I'll be the first one to go, and the kids will. We don't want to
You know
go.
what, Naushad? Everyone had a child, inner child. We
I
put on
got
a
it.
facade, we put on a mask, put
Yeah.
on a face, because of obligations, responsibilities. But if someone's given the opportunity, unfiltered, do what you want to do,
Yeah.
everyone's inner child comes out. And
Yep,
a lot
I
of people
got it.
don't say it. They just
Yeah.
want to have this
Nope.
facade and
Nope.
you
Hey,
know
look,
who I am.
even being elected city council member, I'll still say I'm young at heart, right? But very, very proud of my kids. All three of them gave Nerman, my wife, the best Mother's Day gift that I've even never given her in my 29 years of being married to her back last year. I couldn't have given her what they gave, and this is what they gave. Last May, all three of my kids graduated within a 2-week time period,
Oh, wow.
right? And so my oldest son had already graduated from Penn State back in 2021 during COVID. He didn't get to walk across the stage because we sat in Beaver Stadium. He just sat with us. We're all spread apart. COVID. It is what it is. So last year, Adam graduated with a master's in sports management. He loves sports. He went to Penn State University thinking he's going to become an eye doctor and go pre-med and then go to optometry school. One of the best schools is here at U of H. He didn't like it. He fell in love with Coach Franklin, who is the coach of the football team there, and he was sidelines with the coaches. And he just loves sports. I mean, the guy will see someone on TV and he'll know that he scores 26.3 points per game and this many rebounds. I'm like, how do you know this stuff? Like, that's in my head, that's garbage. I don't have room for it.
Yeah.
But that's what my son is. And even my youngest son is like that. He graduated with the master's in sports management. My daughter, Ariana, graduated with her master's in education last May from Austin College in Sherman, Texas. And my baby, Aaron, he graduated from Southern Methodist University Cox School of Business, and he graduated last May. 3 graduations within 2 weekends, and we couldn't go to Adams because it was on the same day as Aaron's. So Narman's 2 sisters represented us at UT so he got to walk the stage, which he didn't get to do back in 2021, and then the rest of the family, we went to the other 2 graduations. The best Mother's Day gift, even a Father's Day gift, if you ask me, that all 3 of our kids graduated within a two, and we didn't plan it. It just happened to work out that way.
And it's where you shared amongst all your siblings, you were the only one to go to college. First one in your family
Yes.
to be educated, have a
Yes.
college degree, especially in this country.
Yes.
And now your 2 of your 3 kids have a master's degree.
That's right.
And all graduate. Incredible. That is
They all
incredible.
graduated. They all live at home today, right here in Telfair, not by us demanding them to. They are living at home by choice. We allow them to do what they want to do. They're great kids, but I have a couple of rules with them.
Sure.
And one of the rules...
Just a couple?
Couple. Yeah, just a couple. Let's say 4. But one of them is 75% of your money must go into savings. You can do whatever you want with 25% of your money. I don't care. But 75% you need to save. And Adam has now done investments with me as well. The other 2 are ready now to do an investment because they've got enough of a nest egg saved up. When I was 25, I was living paycheck to paycheck. Remember, I was living paycheck to
At that
paycheck.
time, you had no choice, though. You're providing for the family, doing all those things.
Yeah, I didn't know better.
It goes back to the cultural values. In our culture, living with your parents, whether you're 15 years old or 20 years old
Yeah.
or 40-year-old, you can live with your parents as long as you want
can.
to or need to. And that's what I love about being in Fort Bend County, being in Sugar Land, the diversity, the inclusiveness over here.
Family environment.
And you move from another continent,
Yes.
from Africa to Europe, Europe to America. What do you love the most about Sugar Land, Naushad?
You know, it's on my card. It just says, Naushad loves Sugarland. I mean, that is as simple as it is. Look around you, right? Drive down the street here in Sugarland. Look to your left, look to your right. Tell me if you ever find a pothole. You won't find a pothole. Go down the street to West Airport or Richmond or Rosenberg or where my friend Robin Ellicott runs the city of Missouri City. You'll hit potholes, right? It's just such a beautiful city. You said it, the diversity here, right? We've got, you look to your left in a grocery store, you'll see a white person, you'll see an African-American person, you'll see a Hindu person, you'll see a Muslim, you'll see Chinese, you see everything. And the school systems here are so good too. My kids went to Fort Bend ISD. They're products of public school just as I am, Ailey Velsic High School. It is just a beautiful city. And what's wrong with it? Nothing. People like you build a building here, because you must have seen something here in Sugar Land right off of 59, across from U of H, across from now MD Anderson coming very soon. It's just a growing city, but we've got the businesses, we've got the restaurants. I think we can do better on the restaurants, and we've got a plan for that, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But we've got everything that you can possibly want and not really go into town. And that's what I love about this city.
Sugar Land truly has been an incredible journey for us as well. Me and my family moved here in 2014, over 10 years, and we absolutely love Sugar Land. The location, the diversity, the school system, and the inclusiveness
100%.
of our city is incredible.
Yep.
So being in the councilman position, you're serving a third term, now you're running for the mayor. What's your big vision idea? What do you see yourself adding value to the city of Sugar Land as the next mayor?
Sure. No, thank you for that. And I was going to lead into this. You know, it's a great city, like I said, beautiful city. Not much needs to change. However, we do have some land that is undeveloped. Only 4% of the land is undeveloped. And that's in the Imperial Charhouse area, the Lake Point area where Flor Daniel was, and right down the street here in University. We as a city council, and I say we because I've been part of it since 2019, you can't continue to do the same thing over and over and over again, because the hamster will continue running, but you're not getting any results. Well, we tried to develop that pre-COVID, 2019. The developer failed. COVID happened. After COVID, 2023, another developer came in, tried to do something. It failed. Well, just a few weeks ago, we voted to use sales tax dollars to buy that Imperial Charhouse area. It's 4 different owners that own all that land. City of Sugar Land is now going to take control, and we're under contract right now to purchase that. Once again, using sales tax revenue from the different restaurants, the bars, and everything else, coffee shops and everything else. It does not affect you as a Sugar Land resident. But how it does affect you is now we can build something here. Not we as City of Sugar Land. We need to find the right developer to bring in and preserve that area, the Imperial Charhouse. It's got a lot of history there. It's got a beautiful building there, but it's also 100 years old, right? So how do we make this into Sugar Land Town Center on steroids? 6 years ago, Kunal, when I came into City Council, Sugar Land Town Center was 50%, the retail portion of it was empty. Today we have BB Italia. Today we have State Fair. Today we have Rupor that's grown twice. BB Italia has already grown once and expanded their space. Today I was just at the opening ribbon cutting ceremony of a company called Plug and Play. Plug and Play is now here. They are a tech incubator company, and they find young entrepreneurs that are looking to make money or have an idea, and they bring them all together, and they can turn in many, many jobs. And they were just telling us that every time a company is successful, it brings about 69 jobs to the local area. So we can get some Plug and Play going. That would be amazing. We're excited that they're here. It's a worldwide company.
They're going to be based in the town center?
They are in town center, right next to Joseph A. Banks. Lease has been signed. It'll open up here in the next few months. But today was the ribbon cutting to say, we are here. There's a big news conference happening at the Marriott that I just came from.
Wow.
So Sugar Land needs development, which I talked about. But my number one priority is the safety of the residents.
Okay.
Right? Without safety, you can't go to your house. You can't leave the windows open. You can't go to the gym without being successful and doing what you need to do. You should be able to get out of your house and feel safe. Now, crime happens. People, the thugs, they know that Sugar Land has money. People have money here. Our income levels are over $100,000. Our home values, average price is $452,000. We're going to maintain safety in our city. We have police presence everywhere. Today, I was driving, not here, but somewhere else, and there was a constable's officer in my neighborhood. Yes, I love that, because police presence is important, because it steers away the bad people. So just him sitting in a driveway, I went by, I said, "Officer, hi, how are you? I'm a city council member, everything good?" He said, "Yes, sir, I'm just doing my thing, just kind of hanging out." Presence. I'm going to make sure that we continue to have police presence. I'm going to make sure that the police department and our chief and his entire organization, from dispatch to the police officers and the civilians that work there, court system, they get what they need. And we've been doing it. We've been doing it. We just gave our police officers and firefighters a $9 million raise annually because we want to make sure that they don't leave. We don't want them to go to neighboring cities because they're going to make $2,000 more a year. We want to keep them here. And they are extremely happy with what we did. And I'll always make sure safety is a priority here.
Our EMS services are considered one of the best in the state, if not in the country. And we do have that backing up with this increase in pay that you just shared.
Yes.
Actually reinforces a belief system in them. So you talked about safety being important, infrastructure, redevelopment being important. We talked about the Char House. What else is part of your strategy to make this a better city? Naushad?
Sure. Let's go back to the EMS just for a second. Our EMS system, our firefighters and paramedics, because they're cross-trained, we in the country, we're one of the first ones now to have whole blood in the units. So if you're in a bad traumatic accident and stuff, we can give you blood before you get to the hospital. That is transforming lives, that is saving lives, and that is a step that many cities don't do. We are one of the first in the country to do it. Less than 2% of the EMS units have blood on their units.
Naushad, I know you come from medical background. This
Yes.
is second nature for you,
Absolutely.
and you can spit it out the way it is. For a layman, kind of walk us through. Someone is in a car accident or has an incident at home.
Yep.
In any other city or other market, ambulance comes in, takes a patient to the hospital, the transfusion, whatever needs to be done over there. For a
That's an
layman,
hour later.
potentially even longer.
Longer, yeah.
So help me understand one more time. So when you live in the city of Sugar Land, what's this differentiator and how did that happen? Was it based on policies, based on funding, based on
No,
what?
it's based on our chief being a pioneer, always forward thinking. We're trailblazers in Sugar Land. We don't want to be followers. We're going to lead. We're going to always lead. And he wanted it. And the citizens said yes. And they said yes because we do fundraisers for our police and fire department. And these funds go to something that's not budgeted. So we didn't budget it, but our chief wanted it. It's not that expensive a deal, but now it's on the units. You need, instead of just giving you normal saline through your IV, we can give you whole blood, which is same viscous as your blood. And that way you have the right blood pumping and you're saving lives. So it's very important that we're always in the forefront. You talked about changes. What changes will I bring? Look, I said it earlier, failure happens, but government thinks differently. Remember, I'm entrepreneurial. A lot of times government likes to think inside of a box. Check mark, check mark, check mark. Okay, let's do it. Sorry, Naushad's a little different. Check marks can happen, but we should be trying to do some things out of the box thinking. And failure can happen there, but at least we tried. We have to be in the forefront. We have to find wasteful spending. It happens in government. Unfortunately, it happens. Is it big in Sugar Land? Absolutely not. It wouldn't happen under our watch. And remember, we have a city manager that is the CEO of 850 plus employees. Our job is not to micromanage everything. We sit on like a board of directors, and he reports to us. But we can get in there and find some tweaks that will save you as a taxpayer money, and we can utilize it for the taxpayers. You take money from here, and you give it back somewhere else. We have a 36.5-cent tax rate here in the city of Sugar Land.
One of the lowest.
One of the lowest for a city our size. And I'm glad you said it, not me. Pearland's almost 70 cents. It's right up the street. They don't have an airport. We have a full-fledged airport, which is self-sustaining. Mm-hmm. Taxpayers don't pay for that. Fuel that we sell there brings in the revenue. And that is a fantastic airport. And, you know, people will ask me, can you do commercial? I'm like, no, we can't do commercial. People will hate it because those jets that are flying over us right now, they're pretty loud. Imagine Southwest Airlines coming here. Can't do that. Can't do that. So that is I'm gonna think outside the box. Always challenge our city manager to think differently. And a lot of success will come out of that, and a couple of failures will happen. It's okay. During COVID, our city staff thought outside the box because you couldn't go to a movie theater. So we brought the movie theater to the park, and we blew up big screens. You sit in your trunk, You can bring your popcorn, bring your things, and at least it was an outing. We were all tired. That is thinking outside the box. And that's what and it doesn't cost much money.
I would say the Sugarland is very family friendly.
Yes.
And the town center, every week or every weekend, we have activities
Yes.
which are family driven, kids driven. So we talked about all of this, Naushad. So with the elections coming up, the next few weeks, the next month or so,
33 days till early voting starts.
33 days is coming up. You have a vision to make our city better.
Yes.
And you have certain values you bring. Your medical background, entrepreneurship is a lot of value.
Yes.
Certainly your ask is for have the voters vote for you.
Yes.
If somebody was sitting here today and they're evaluating, well, I want to be voting, should I vote, not vote, what would you say to them today? What would your ask be? And how would you back that up with your vision and value?
First of all, show up. Because only in 2016 in the mayoral election where Mayor Joe Zimmerman won, only about 11% of the people showed up. 11. That means 89% didn't do it. And those are the folks that like to complain. You have to voice your opinion now. April 22nd is early voting. And what is my vision, right? I said it a little while ago. I want to develop that char house. I want to develop Flora. What's missing in Sugarland? What's missing in Sugarland is the middle housing, right? You know, not everyone wants a 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 square foot home. Folks want multifamily. And yes, I said multifamily. There's nothing wrong with it because it won't be $800 a month. It's more like $2,400, $2,500 a month because land in Sugarland is expensive. To build Sugarland quality, you know yourself, you built this building. We had high standards. All the permits and all the inspections from the plumbing to the electrical, our standards are high. And it's okay to complain, but go down to Rosenberg and do it. Go to another city and do it. Not in our city. Not in our city. We're going to keep our standards high, and if not even higher, because our quality of residence will be just as high as well. Things that have happened over the past few years. Trader Joe's is now here in Sugarland. Trader Joe's wouldn't look at me at the ICSC convention when I went back 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. They turned their nose at me. I gave them my city council card. Citizens pushed it. Trader Joe's is now here. Look at the Talliard Brewery by the Constellation baseball field, our entertainment zone. It's here. It's a great family-friendly environment. These type of things are going to continue to come. We need more entertainment. We need better restaurants. Why is Landry's or Tillman Fertitta's restaurants not here? Why do we only have a Papacitos and not the other Papa's restaurants? Why? We need to give them the right spot to build it. And so Sugarland Town Center today is thriving. It is almost fully occupied. There's one restaurant space that is coming under lease very soon. Benjamin Berg BB is bringing another concept there. And then we have a couple of small retail spaces. Besides that, it's thriving. You mentioned there's always things going on. I was there last week, and it was spring break. And I was walking to a lunch appointment at BB Italia, and because kids are home, Sugarland Town Center and Reeby's management group, who does a great job managing that, they had these snakes out there. And the kids were able
like
to
real
snakes,
okay.
like big pythons and stuff. Okay. And so you can hold the python, put them around you. The next day they had these bubble making type things. Beautiful area. Sit on the lawn, grab a pizza from Jupiter Pizza, or grab a burger from Big Ben Tavern, or the tavern that's right there, and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Town Center is good. The Char House area will be on steroids and great.
Because the vision is to have mixed use. You're going to have housing over there, whereas Town Center has condos,
yes,
but not necessarily homes that you can walk. Because
right.
most people who live in the area don't be able to walk over and grab a bite, or grab a drink.
Sit on the lawn,
yes.
Listen to some music, and just have a good time.
And the proximity to the Skeeter Stadium, not Skeeter Stadium, we have the new name.
Constellation Field. Home of the Houston Astros. Triple A baseball is
That's
here.
Also progress
and,
for us.
And Mr. Crane, the owner of the Houston Astros, has put in a lot of money. And we helped them too. We put in money as well. The city of Sugarland put in money because to get a Triple A team, they got to have a certain standard of a dugout. They have to have a certain standard of showers. Well, our teams were like minor leagues.
Yeah.
the Atlantic League. I didn't know what the Atlantic League is, but now we have our Verlander comes down here and recoups and rehabs, I guess is the right word, and it fills up here from the Houston Astros. So 23 miles to what used to be Minute Maid, now a Daikon Stadium. I think they just changed the name over there. Minute Maid Stadium for the Houston Astros changed names. So these are the type of things that will drive economy. It'll keep the coffee shops busy. Parks. I was in the park yesterday, Cullinan Park. Have you ever been to Cullinan Park?
Is that the one off Highway 6 across from the
airport?
baseball?
Yeah, across from the baseball
Yeah,
field,
yeah.
right before you get
I've
to the
been
airport.
there.
Beautiful area.
Yes. It has
Beautiful walking trails.
Yes.
You said it, I said it at the same time.
Yeah.
But I was out there talking to a few people, and they did not belong in Sugarland. They came from Fulshire, they came from Katy, they came from Belleville, and I'm like, what brought you here? Oh, we come out here all the time because the type of bird species that are here, alligator was there, a snake was on top of the moss over there. And they even told me about a couple of apps that you can take pictures of these birds and it'll tell you what kind of bird it is. I learned something. So it was really cool to see non-Sugarlanders using beautiful Cullinan Park. And I guarantee you they had to stop somewhere for lunch or breakfast. And so that brings in economy. Cullinan Park is almost the same size as Central Park in New York City.
Is
but
that
it's
right?
Mother Nature.
Wow.
It's just pure. You just hear all kinds of birds. Vultures were just standing around there. Just big vultures were there on the trees. It was just an amazing sight to see. I was there yesterday.
We also have your Smart Financial Center.
Yes.
That brings over 300,000 people on an annual basis for conferences, for concerts, for shows, and
Yes.
that brings economy to the city of Sugarland.
Absolutely.
People come in. A lot of people come from out of town, out of Sugarland to come over here.
Absolutely.
So we have a lot of things working for us.
Yeah. $24 million in ticket sales last year, just out of Smart Financial.
24 million.
Projecting $30 million this year.
Wow.
Imagine that. It's tax revenue for us. We get concession revenue. The city of Sugarland gets concession parking revenue. It's a rev share. We get it's a land lease, so they pay us rent every month. We even paused their rent during COVID because they were shut down. We, as the landlord, were able to do that. We made that decision as a city council, and today they're paying us back handsomely. Handsomely.
All these things are the recipes to make our city not just the sweetest city, but the best city in Texas and America.
There is no equal in Sugarland.
There's no equal in Sugarland.
You get that, huh?
It's all real sugar.
All sugar.
Naushad, it's always a pleasure engaging with you. Your passion, your commitment, your dedication to make our city a better city, your background being in the medical field, and it was touching to hear, yes, you can be behind the scene person in the trauma center, in the hospital, but zipping up bags and putting a tag on someone's body and
Loved
you
one.
have their family members, you get in tune into the system and then unplug yourself and say, you know what, I didn't sign up for this to be in a machine to check off boxes.
Yeah.
And then you transition to be an entrepreneur, build a business nationwide level.
Yes.
And now running for the mayor. I mean, this is a blessing for us.
Thank you.
We have someone like yourself with such a diverse background and where you're at today. And it's an exciting journey.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me, Kunal, and the entire Seth Brothers team. You've done amazing things with this building. I remember you telling me that you wanted to do toy drives here and you wanted to do, collecting food and all that. And you also are serving the community in so many ways. You hold conferences here for other people to learn. You don't charge them. You're entrepreneurial, but you're also giving back to the community. So I want to thank you for everything that you do.
We all got to do our part.
Yes, we do.
I want to share with you this book that I wrote about a year ago. It's called The First Generation Mindset. In the book, I talk about everything I do in life is 3-step process: vision, then comes value, and then comes the ask.
Yeah.
Most people lead by the ask. The ask could be, vote for me.
Yes,
I want to be the
yes.
next mayor. Or the ask could be, I'm a realtor, come work with me, let me earn some commission. But when we lead by being clear about our vision in life and being clear about what value we bring, then whatever the ask is gets fulfilled more effectively. So
it falls into place
by itself.
Yes.
But when you lead by your ask, you just go
you
so
fail.
far.
Yeah.
And I was impressed. I'm excited to hear about your journey, your vision of that. I would love for you to have a copy of the book.
Thank you.
Let me put
I get your John Hancock on it.
Yes.
That's awesome.
But always a pleasure, Naushad. we're not talking right, as some are misspelled.
Go ahead.
Naushad.
You got it.
But your interaction each time I sit down with you helps me get more clarity of the value you add to us and your journey to being the next mayor. I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. Thank you for this. This
Absolutely.
is very nice. Very
Absolutely.
nice.
Naushad, thank you for your time
Thank
today.
you. I appreciate it. Thank you.